going to start off with a riddle, and we'll just see where you rank in this, because this riddle, 17% of Stanford graduates get it right. 80% of kindergartners get it right. We'll see where you are. Now, if you know the answer, don't answer out loud, okay? Just, if you know, that's great. Keep it to yourself. Here's the riddle. What is stronger than God, more evil than the devil? Poor people have it, rich people don't need it, and if you eat it, you will die. Oh, by the way, there's this British family named Godwin. They served as missionaries in Rhodesia. This is their son, Peter. He was a little boy when they were in Rhodesia. His mom was a missionary doctor. And her main function as a missionary doctor in Rhodesia was to administer vaccines to the Rhodesian people. And over her career, she vaccinated thousands of people. Some of those vaccines were by shot, but some of them were just the vaccine was applied to a sugar cube and then given to the kids, and they were to eat the sugar cube, and then they're getting the medicine that way. Little Peter's job was to carry the tray of sugar cubes around and make sure that every child would get one, and then to check and make sure that they had swallowed it. That was his job. After several years of them being in Rhodesia, civil war broke out in Rhodesia, and so the Godwins had to return to their own country, which was England. They went back to England, and Peter started working. He was an adult by this time. He started working as a journalist for the London Times. After several years of working there, he was assigned to go to South Africa to cover a dust-up between the Marxist government and some armed rebels that were causing a lot of trouble. And for whatever reason, while Peter was in South Africa, he snuck across the border into Mozambique. Mozambique was closed to foreign journalists. He was not supposed to be there, but he went in anyway, and he was captured by a group of armed rebels. And they took him to their base camp, which was a 2-day walk. And for the entire 2 days of the walk to their base, he was beaten, he was kicked, he was just treated horribly. And when he got there, he was taken to the base commander. And the base commander, of course, you know, he's a very hard character. He was talking to some of the other rebels in a dialect that Peter recognized from his time in Rhodesia. And so he started talking to the commander in this dialect. And the commander was like, "Where did you learn that? How do you know that language?" And so Peter explained, "I grew up in Rhodesia. My mom was a doctor. And, you know, name was Godwin." And the base commander, everything changed when he heard that name, Godwin. And he stopped, and he rolled his sleeve up, and he said, "Your mom gave me a vaccine." And Peter explained that he was the little boy with the sugar cubes. He said, "I got one of those too from you." And it all changed. Peter was like an honored guest all of a sudden at this base. And he was treated really well, and he was escorted back to the place that he had been captured by the rebels. And when they got him there, before they actually went back to their own base, they all gathered and smiled for one big happy picture. Isn't that bizarre? I mean, who would have thought, right? Sometimes your good deeds are rewarded. But does it seem like sometimes your good deeds are ignored? You're doing stuff for people, and maybe they don't even realize it, or at least they don't thank you, or they don't acknowledge it in any way. Question is, does that really matter? I mean, am I supposed to be concerned with getting recognition for every good deed that I do, every cup of cold water that I give in the name of Christ? Am I supposed to be concerned with being recognized for that? I mean, isn't the bigger picture supposed to be that you step in and do something that needs to be done when it needs to be done, regardless of, whether anybody realizes it or not? Because why? Because it's what Jesus expects of you, to step in and do when there's something to be done. What's it going to take to get you to devote yourself seriously to your inner Good Samaritan? Have you ever let him out? You know that story, the Good Samaritan. Jesus told it as a parable. Now, that word parable basically means riddle. And when you look at the parables, they were riddles. Jesus didn't tell them, here's what you need to learn from this parable. He just gave the parable. He told, actually, in his ministry, what we have recorded, he told around 40 or so parables. He only explained one of them. So his disciples had a lot of figuring out to do over the course of those 3.5 years, didn't they? He kept telling them these riddles, and they had to figure it out because he wasn't telling them what it was they were supposed to be learning from that. Oh, riddles, that reminds me, I never gave you the answer to that opening riddle, did I? Anybody figure it out? Bob? Right. Say it again. Nothing. That is absolutely right. That's the answer to the riddle. I don't know about your deal. I'm not commenting on that. The one riddle that Jesus told that we're going to look at this morning was actually kind of realistic in that day. A man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road, and when he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. So too a Levite. When he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But a Samaritan, as he traveled, came to where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. He went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine, and then he put the man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day, he took out 2 silver coins, gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I'll reimburse you for any extra expense that you may have. I said that was a realistic riddle. What was realistic about it? That road from Jerusalem to Jericho is a 17-mile stretch, and it was notorious for hooligans to hide and ambush travelers, beat them up, and rob them. Sound familiar? It's exactly what Jesus depicted in his story. The religious leaders of the day had their chance in Jesus' story, didn't they? The priest and the Levite, they could have helped the victim, but they didn't. Why not? I don't know. Too busy? Too unconcerned? Jesus doesn't tell us. Remember, it's a made-up story by Jesus to make a point anyway. Now, did something like this ever happen? Quite possibly. But Jesus wasn't telling this as an historical event. He was making a point. One man, Jesus said, finally did stop. It was the Samaritan. Now, that phrase, Good Samaritan, is kind of a catchphrase for us today, isn't it? Anytime somebody does something nice for somebody, oh, they did a Good Samaritan deed, right? That's just what we say. It meant something way bigger to Jesus' hearers a couple thousand years ago. They were Jews, and Jews hated the Samaritans. The Jews and the Samaritans flat out did not get along. The fact that Jesus made the Samaritan the good guy, the hero, that was offensive to the people that Jesus was telling the story to. It's also the part of the story that deviated from the expected, which is what really catches the attention of the hearer, right? When there's a twist to the plot. And that was Jesus' point. See, not only was it shocking that the Samaritan was the hero, it was shocking that he'd even try to help. See, the Samaritans didn't like the Jews any more than the Jews liked the Samaritans. I mean, this feeling was mutual. And then the Jew, he had the gall to accept the help. He should have laid there and died, according to the way a Jew would look at it. There's those two characters. But did you know there is another character in the story? Did you notice him? It's the innkeeper. I mean, the Samaritan did what he could for the victim, right? Yeah, I mean, he picked him up, he put him on his own donkey, which means most likely Jesus is saying that the Samaritan then walked the rest of the way as this half-dead man rode on his donkey. But eventually the Samaritan had to be on his way. Next morning, he takes off, he leaves instructions with the innkeeper, gives him 2 silver coins, take care of him, do whatever he needs. I'll come back and I'll reimburse you if it costs you any more than this. Given the description by Jesus, sounds like there was a lot more than just overnight care that this guy would have needed. You know, if he's half dead, you know, there's some recovery time. There's some extra work that innkeeper is going to be responsible for in there. I mean, it's one thing to deliver emergency care. It's kind of a one and done thing. It's something else completely to provide long-term care, feeding, cleaning, changing bandages. Jesus included all this in the story by the details that he gave. That's what this innkeeper was going to be responsible for. Question, could you do that? Could you do as the innkeeper did? Could you be the one who would go out of your way, put your own life aside for a bit to care for somebody else on a stranger's word that he'd come back and reimburse you for whatever it cost you? What's it going to take to get you to devote yourself seriously to your inner Good Samaritan? He's in there somewhere. It's possible to be kind, folks, even in a world where kindness is not common. Got a story that's apparently true. This was written 20, 25 years ago, and it had happened sometime prior to that. That's an important factor in this story. Real rich guy, he's in his limousine. Limousine breaks down on the interstate. Now, the rich guy doesn't know how to fix his car. His chauffeur does not know how to fix his car either. They're stranded. The guy stopped. He was an out-of-work auto mechanic. And he was able to get that limo started back up so they could be on their way. He wouldn't take a dime for his work. The rich guy offered to pay him, and the guy refused. Next day, that out-of-work mechanic, his wife, got flowers and a registered letter along with it telling her, your mortgage is now paid off. And of course, they told their story, and word got out. And the rich guy was approached, and his answer was simply, he wouldn't confirm it or deny it. He said, I don't do those kinds of things for publicity. Did I mention the rich guy's name, however many decades ago this was Donald Trump? And it's important that you know that story was from a long time ago and written a long time ago, just so you know this is not a political thing here, okay? But we all understand sometimes even the people that we look at and think, he's above everybody else. Maybe not. Maybe not always. I don't think the Good Samaritan or the Good Innkeeper, you ever heard that one? You know, maybe we could call it the parable of the Good Innkeeper. It'd be in character with the story. Maybe, I don't think either the Good Samaritan or the Good Innkeeper was going to seek the spotlight for what they did. Neither one of them was doing it for, oh, look at me, look at me. They were doing it because it needed to be done. What's it going to take to get you to devote yourself seriously to your inner Good Samaritan? Because there is a real need for more of this. Years ago, there was an experiment. Maybe you've heard about this before. An unsuspected passerby would be walking along the street past a dark alley, and a woman would start screaming from deeper in the alley that she was being attacked. She wasn't being attacked. It was an experiment. She's screaming that she's being attacked, and there were two other people standing near that entrance to the alley who were also in on the setup. Here's what would happen. They're standing there. Here comes somebody. So she starts screaming that she's being attacked, and the guy walking by has to decide, am I going to go down there and try to help her or not? These two who are in on it do not help. They don't make a move to go down that alley. They did this many times, different people each time, different passerby each time. And almost every time, this guy wouldn't go because they weren't going. The conclusion of the study was, if you're going to stop and help somebody, it's only going to be if somebody else is helping first. Human nature. Problem is, if it's a real situation, he's thinking, well, they got to go first. What are they thinking? He's got to go first. And then nobody does. So nobody gets the help. Unfortunately, extremely unfortunately, we can look at the news and see that kind of thing exactly happening. So the most important person when there's compassion or courage that's required, most important person is the first one to act or the first one to not act. Maybe that's what Jesus meant when he said we're lights on the hillside. See why I wanted to sing that song again with the kids? We're here to show an example of kindness and decency and compassion. That's why we are here. That's our purpose. How eager are you to get involved? What's it going to take to get you to devote yourself seriously to your inner Good Samaritan? He wants out. Jesus wants you to love others. Yes, sure. Love's not just, ooh, nice, cozy feeling. He wants you to show it. As Jesus said, no one lights a lamp and then hides it. What's the point? Just don't light it. If you don't want anybody to see your light, don't light it. We are a light, he says. We're supposed to show it. Because why wouldn't we? It's safe to assume, I think, in Jesus' riddle, that priest and that Levite both loved God, right? I think that's his point. He's picking people who really would definitely claim, yes, I love God, and yes, I want to obey God. They were Jesus probably presented them as examples of people who loved others as well. That would it's supposed to go with the territory. But they just couldn't or wouldn't help when the chips were down. They're probably on their way to some really important religious conference, right? That's probably why they didn't have time. Oh, we got excuses, folks. We got excuses coming out our ears when we need an excuse for not getting involved. You know why Jesus even told this parable, this riddle? He was talking to the people around him about how they need to love their neighbor. Love your neighbor as yourself. And one of the religious leaders, we are told, he asked this question because he wanted to justify himself. What's that mean? He wanted to know a way out. He asked, and who is my neighbor? Why is he asking that? Because he wants to know, I only have to go this far. I only have to go up to this person. I don't have to go to that one. They're outside the boundary. That's what he's looking for. That's not a parable. That happened. Jesus said, love your neighbor. The man said, who is my neighbor? Looking to limit that. Jesus' answer was, there was this guy going on the road from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he was beaten up. This parable was Jesus' answer to that question, who's my neighbor? Could it be that we could be in the same shoes of the priest and the Levite? Not wanting to help? Maybe not wanting to help because there's nobody to shine a spotlight on what I do right now. No, wait till the cameras are here. Could it be that we're just more interested in rewards from other people than we are interested in rewards from our Creator? Could it be that we need to love our neighbor the way Jesus told us to? I mean, honestly, folks, what's it going to take to get you to devote yourself seriously to your inner Good Samaritan? We're going to stand and we're going to sing our invitation. I understand we weren't quite, go ahead and stand. I understand we weren't quite done at this time last Sunday when I was not here. I'm back. We are going to sing, and this is the opportunity that every single one of us has right now to look at this riddle and say, okay, I get it. There's an answer to this riddle, and the answer is, who's my neighbor? Anybody that needs help. Anybody.